Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Happy August. Welcome back to World Renovation, Henford on Bagley edition. We're returning to the Thistle Teapot for the final time, a British inspired tea house run by my lovely sim Parvati and her ragdoll cat Rani. And in this part we're going to move to her first floor flat and complete this charming establishment. So let's get into build mode, shall we? I think the hallway is a good place to start, and I've pulled out this hallway table, which I believe is from Cats and Dogs, but I could be wrong. And I've been playing around with mirrors to see what fits into this back section. So this one for the base game slotted in perfectly. And as you can see here, I've just created this kind of entryway porch area, just add a bit of dimension to this room. I didn't want it to basically open out from the balcony area straight into the house. So that was a nice touch. And I've carried on through the stone that we've used for the exterior. And just a little bit of clutter. I thought it'd be appropriate that Parvati would have all her things in the hallway. And I'd quite like a bunch of flowers here. I might keep with the theme of whatever this flower is. I couldn't remember the name, and I still can't remember the name from last part, but I would quite like to use a bouquet that I never gravitate towards, which is, I think the reason why I don't gravitate towards this is because the shadows on it are horrendous. Let me just find it. It's this bunch here from Eco Lifestyle. The shadows just really irritate me on this item. You can see when I select it's much brighter, but you know, I'll look past it. And then to finish off this area, a little rattan rug. I think I'm going to have to size this down though, just so it fits in nicely. And I've added a spotlight. But yeah, made use of that room. Now, I would quite like to make a window seat moment here using one of the window seats that potentially came with Cats and Dogs. So I'm gonna pull that out and then we can kind of get to grips with the layout of this room. I was correct, this sofa is from the Cats and Dogs EP. Quite like the detail with the books and the shelving area. And I've chosen in a neutral swatch with some bright pops of colour. I really want to make it apparent that Parvati is a very joyful sim, and her flat will reflect that and feed into her Indian ancestry as well. So really try and make that apparent in the interiors that I'm going to create today. So if we add it into this corner section, I think all I'll simply need to do is add two walls. It kind of cuts in there, but I think it's quite a nice moment to have for a window seat. And I think I might just colour in these sections in stone for a bit of realism. But I think that's a nice moment, and something I don't really often do when I'm building is create a little window seat. So I quite enjoy that. Now, before I place this piece of furniture that I've pulled out, I'd like to choose some wallpaper together. Now, I'm thinking of something fairly neutral and in a yellow swatch. I'm just wondering whether I want paneling or not. I think in a hallway it kind of would make sense. And this first swatch I've chosen is actually perfect, I think. Yeah, let's add... I quite like the little floral motif as well. It feels very chintzy. Let's add it to this area. Yeah, I think that's nice. And then we can brighten up the furniture that we selected with some white swatches to coincide with the paneling. Yeah, let's do that. And I've pulled out this unit from Laundry Day, I think, or Laundry Stuff. There's so many packs out there. I think that's quite a nice moment, and it reflects the shelving that we've got going on with the window seat. Now, I think for here, I'd quite like a bit of usable clutter. So books. It'd be quite nice for Parvati to read in that window seat area with Rani, her cat. Let's choose this one in... Oh, I think the pink is quite nice to play off the little object that's sat down there. And let's get another vase of flowers, shall we? Maybe not the same one, so we're avoiding some repetition. Quite like to use some of those kind of ferny boys that we've used downstairs. This one. Maybe in a white, if we have one. Lovely. And also continue the theme of the window seat with some cushions up here. I think this just naturally sits, but I might lift one up with the 9 key. Might size you down as well to make it seem like they're stacked. Obviously not in the red. Maybe I'll go neutral for this. I don't like how that's that far away from the wall. Let me do my off-grid trick. Pull it in a bit tighter. Nice. Yeah, just creating little pockets of interesting spaces in the area. Need some decorations for here, but before we get to that, I'm going to get a window dressing. Thinking of something relatively simple, given it's quite a small window. And I think if I size down this from Cottage Living, I use this blind all the time actually, because it comes in some nice neutral swatches, such as this one. I think the pure white would be quite nice in here. Before I forget, radiators. Radiators are very apparent in British flats. Oh, is it not coming up? Maybe because I've pluralized it. Here we are. Yeah, they're very common in British flats. In fact, there's one just next to my desk. We won't be needing it anytime soon because there's actually another mini heatwave in London at the moment. But I'm very much looking forward to autumn. It's my favourite season. It's also my birthday season as well in September. And just layering and, yeah, enjoying a bit more of a crisper air, you know. I think as well what I'm going to do is mirror the seasons in my games on my channel when I'm building. So we move into autumn, we can shift the seasons. I think Henford will look really pretty in autumn actually. Just pulled out a clock here. I thought that was quite a nice object for the wall. And then maybe let's focus on dressing up this area. Go to some posters. How is everyone? Anyway, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I have had a haircut, a very much needed haircut. I'm going to Brazil in, what is it? A month, over 2 months now, at the end of September. I'll be in Sao Paulo for my birthday actually, which is really exciting. But yeah, going with Vin, and I'm testing out a slightly shorter hairstyle, still keeping my curtains, of course. And I think I might potentially go for some highlights in my hair, because my barber actually does that alongside cutting my hair. He told me it's going to be 3 hours long apparently, which is hilarious. I didn't think it took that long to get some highlights, but I do sympathize with people who have to sit in the chair for so long to get their hair done. I'm certainly, maybe this might be my only time I'm getting highlights, but I'm looking forward to seeing how it turns out. I need to provide some reference images for him. So let's hope it doesn't mess up and then I can't show my face on camera for a while. I've just added this portrait. I think it's quite nice actually. It looks a little bit like Henford, but potentially from a Vista. And I've just pulled out this dream catcher. Let's go for a nicer swatch though. Do you have one that's... Yeah, let's go for this one. Nice. I think from Nifty Knitting Kit, we have some ceiling decorations, I believe, but it could potentially be in the debug catalog. So I'm going to grab those and we can place them together. These are what I was thinking of. I think you can craft these potentially. Quite like bringing in some plants to the room. Adds a bit of life, you know. I'm just going to do a variation as well, so nothing looks too matchy. I don't think Parvati is a kind of matchy style sim. Yeah, I think that's nice. Adds a bit of dimension. It's my favorite word, apparently, dimension. Let's add a rug to this area. It needs to be relatively neutral, I'd say, since we've got some yellow going on. I'm going to go for this one from the base game, but size it down completely 2 times, just so it fits into the room. Plays off the floral motif and the colours that we've got going on the wall. Very nice. And to move on to this corner, now from memory, from Firen, we have a group of photographs that kind of allude to an Indian-inspired artwork with some portraits, and I think that would be a nice picture to use. That really alludes to, you know, Parvati's upbringing. So this item was actually from Growing Together, which I was surprised about. But it's really nice. I think this is kind of a nice allusion to Parvati's dad, who left the business to her after being in Hereford for many decades. And sadly, as with all Sim stories, her parents have passed away. But, you know, Parvati is, I'm going to say she's pushing 60s, in her 60s now. So it kind of makes sense that her parents aren't alive. Very macabre. But I think it's really nice. Alluding to her heritage. Let's go for that. Quite like a side table. God, I'm flying all over the shop. Let's go to accent tables. Maybe something a bit more traditional. Come in white. Oh, you do. Yeah. I like the white one. And I've also pulled out this vase, jug actually, just to bring in some of the colours that we've got from this painting in particular, or wall art. I really want to make it apparent as well that all these houses have landline telephones. Feels very British that way. And luckily we got a couple from that timed event a while back, this retro one. I think I might put it in a white. Yeah, I think it makes sense as well in a hallway to have something like a telephone. And then let's just finish up this side table with some extra flowers, shall we? I've ended up going for this caddy of flowers, in a green actually, to offset the pillows that we've got going on over there. Let's add some lighting together, shall we? Thinking of something just relatively simple, but not in that shade. Maybe in a white. Or a kind of beachy colour to play off the doorway. Maybe let's do that. Just position you off the grid slightly. And then a pendant light. Nothing too big. He says, picking out a gigantic one. Maybe I have to size it down. Where is it, that spotlight hitting? Yeah, let's do that. Does the tone really make a difference? Oh, it does. I'm gonna go for the lighter gold. And then let's put everything to a warm white. And I quite like doing this in my builds, just playing around with the lighting. Just to add different moods. Let's go for that. I'm happy with how that section turned out, actually. Could have been a relatively boxy cutout, but came together quite nicely. So let's move on to the living room, shall we? I'd quite like to complement the yellow tones that we use for the hallway and use a blue. And I was playing around with this swatch from the Paranormal pack, and I think it's so beautiful, this wallpaper. I rarely get to use this outside of more traditional builds, but I think it really works in this area, and it'd be quite nice to bring in some goldy accents in here. So let's go for that. And then we can have a bit more fun with the furniture we choose instead of having just a neutral base all the time. So I think the best place to start is with a sofa. And we could go traditional, but we could also go very stylized. So I was thinking something like this, but then the swatches don't work too well. I mean, this isn't too bad, but it's just not the vibe, you know? I think it's a bit too formal and a bit too modern. But I'm wondering if could we go matchy-matchy with the paranormal pack? Maybe in this swatch actually, so it's not completely copy and paste. So I quite like to have a fireplace in this section. So I assume we maybe put the sofa around here. That's enough room for the Sims to get back by. And then don't we have a matching chair to this sofa? Turn the grid off. Where for though? Oh yeah, it's kind of a high back one. We go for this. It's slightly modern with the mid-century legs, but I can look past it, I think. I think maybe putting a rug down might ground the room. A bit dark, that one, but I do like that pattern. Oh, this one's perfect. It's got the blue and the yellow. Oh, not sizing you up. Might use the tool mod for this, actually. Let's do a 0.8. Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a better size. Then sizing down 1. Let's choose a fireplace. Actually, what I might do is mirror the fireplace from downstairs. It makes the most sense, given that we're in the same build, you know. Pull that rug out so it doesn't catch on fire. And I think instead of having a TV over a fireplace, I might add a TV stand here in the corner. So it'd be quite a nice opportunity to have a mirror in this section. I always think we're quite short on mirrors in the game. And of course they sit so high, so ridiculously high in the wall. Maybe something small. Does this come in a... Oh, it does come in a gold. Do I go for the lighter or the darker? I think the darker is a bit more of a statement. Oh, what am I doing? And let's copy over some flowers. Maybe just shift you around a little bit. And as with tradition with World Renovation, I'm adding urns to every build, apparently. So I think it'd be quite a nice homage to Parvati's dad if she had his urn on the mantle. Let's see if... I think the blue and the gold kind of works in this room. I mean, it doesn't always have to be spooky, you know. It's quite nice to pay respect to her dad in that way. Need something else for her. Wondering if do we have incense in the game? Again, to kind of bring in that concept of Parvati's Indian heritage. Yeah, I think the tones work well in that mantle area. And there's a nice mix of, you know, the traditional with maybe just things that Parvati or her father has passed down. I've chosen this TV stand from the Paranormal pack in this yellow and light blue swatch. I think it's really pretty, the detail in it, and I rarely get to use an item like this in a build that I do. So, you know, why not? I've also changed the swatch of the rug. I think the other one was looking a bit dark in comparison. Shows a TV, nothing big. I may even go for the retro one that we've got going on. Be quite fun. I can't imagine Parvati's got that much time to sit down and watch TV, but when she does, she watches her favourite soaps. I'm thinking like something along the lines of Emmerdale, which maybe only British people might know, but it's actually very close to the world of Henford, if you think about it. Do we need to pull out the fireplace a bit more? Yeah, let's do that. I just pulled out a lantern. I think that's such a nice object. Again, something I don't get to use all too often. Yeah, I'm going to use that. And I think we have another lamp that's a lantern with accompanying flowers from memory. Not this one. Is from my wedding stories? If that's true, I have incredible memory. Where am I going? Where am I going? My wedding stories. It is. Wow. Can I get away with sizing this down? I think I can, you know. Because there's no flame in there to jump out. Let's keep it on the gold swatch, shall we? And oh, what should we do? What should we do? I think I'd quite like to have a desk because Parvati will need to do lots of paperwork, things to do with her business, so kind of makes sense that she'd have a space where she could work away. We just need a small desk that, oh god no, not the my first pet's item. Looks a bit too basic in here. You know, I don't mind this one. It's from the werewolves pack. In a white. Against the wall. Here you are. Yeah, let's do that. And then for chairs, or chair singular, let's go for something that looks, or maybe not as dressy as that, but this one without the florals on it. Try and find where you are. This is the chair I was thinking about with the rattan detailing. It's a lovely chair, actually. It's from my wedding stories as well. He knew that kit would come in so used for this build. Let's just give her a basic laptop. And add a little desk lamp by way of maybe this one. Come in a darker TD. And I've also pulled out this for the fireplace and a stool that will act as a coffee table, given that we don't really have much space to work with. And actually, before I forget, we need a pet bed like we did with Hemford Manor. Let's put it right outside the fireplace area. I think Rani would appreciate that. Not really happy with that swatch. Do you have anything that's... Ooh. I think that works in this room, actually. Wondering as well if we can give Rani some toys. Don't we have a yarn ball? Aha, it's here. Yeah, let's go for this. I don't know why I'm choosing a swatch for yarn ball, but here we are. Yeah, so she can curl up in front of the fire. This is a bit of a weird space, but I think I'd quite like to add a radiator here, at the very least. Also, it's quite realistic to have it below the window space. Wondering if we can fill up this area of the room with some big plants. Imagine Rani's into them. You know, I never really get to use this plant. It's based on, well, correct me if I'm wrong, it's either a Sims 2 or a Sims 3 swatch. And I quite like how, and this doesn't really work for many builds, in my opinion, that I build, because, I don't know, it looks a little bit fake sometimes, but I think in this room it really works. Yeah, I'm going to keep that one in. I quite like to use, we used it quite a lot in Hemford Manor, that big potted plant, which I think came with for rent, so let me just Yes, it did. Here. Needs to put it in a good orientation so it doesn't sneak into the chair. Just not working in my favour at the moment. We'll just sneak you around. Slightly cutting in. Can see past it. Let's choose a better swatch. Oh, that minty-ish one. Sagey green with the light beach works in here. Yeah, it does well to fill up the space. And let's pull out the knitting box. I also need to find some window drapes, so let me find those. Added the knitting box, which has a gameplay element. And I'd also quite like to add a cat tree in this area for Rani. Given that this space is a pretty dead space, but I imagine with the heat from the radiator, Rani would appreciate a scratching post in this corner. And I was thinking as well for window dressings to reflect what we've done downstairs. And use these one from the Enchanted by Nature pack. I think that tone's fine. I was considering the darker one with the yellow flowers, but I think the lighter blue helps brighten the space up a little bit. Also found this gorgeous, and two wall decorations from the For Rent pack, which actually came in use for this room. This is more of like a decorative plaque, limeware platter, and this is a really beautiful piece. There's quite a few different swatches, but I thought this tone worked in this room. And I quite like how it looks a touch cluttered, but not overly done. And let's add some lighting before I forget. Trying to figure out where best would work. If we put one there, I wonder if I put one here, and then put one in this corner as well. Maybe just shift you around a little bit, and then I might just copy over the. Where have I put that spotlight in here? There it is. Copy over this pendant light and just size you down one. And as you can see, I've already pulled out the floor tile for the kitchen area. Thought maybe we would choose a wall swatch together. Quite like something with some decorative tiles. Now, whether we have a swatch that caters to that, I don't know. I wonder if we can carry on the theme of green in this area. I think I prefer this softer, more pastel-y swatch. Let's go for that. And in terms of kitchen, I remember we were given a shaker style kitchen with an update. At least from memory. Let me try and figure out where that is. Oh, this one here. Let's just put the grid on, shall we? So quite like a cooker here. I've already put the alarm in there. Does this come in a green? Oh, you do? Yeah, let's do a fun kitchen for once instead of a neutral. And go for this green with a white marble top so it plays with all the colours that we've got going on. So we've got a corner moment here, and let's have two full counters. Let's put the cooker there, and then maybe one more here, and then we can add the fridge, because I'd still quite like to squeeze in a dining table and also a washing machine, because we actually have a washing line outside. Where is the washing machine actually? Is it in plumbing? I always think it should be in appliances, but it never is. Oh, you're not there. I always thought it was in plumbing. See, even I can't find it. I'm going to pull that out, and then we can continue on with the kitchen. Found the washing machine. Also made sure it's not the one with the coin slot. So works in a residential home. In terms of a sink, I quite like the detail of having some pots in the sink, actually. I imagine, given Parvati's very hectic workload, she doesn't get too much time to clean up after herself in the morning while she's rushing downstairs. Also, such a lovely view as well to be able to wash your dishes from. Nice lighting as well that's coming through from the lighting engine. Stove. We could do... Does this come in a green, this one, actually? I quite like that it's very country-esque. Oh, it does, and also the cream. I guess as well we have a matching fridge. Again, this is the first kit that I ever bought, which was the country kitchen kit. Something like that. You know what, let's just go all out green in this kitchen. I love the colour green, actually. It's a very calming colour. I've been trialing to see if I would like some green bedding in my bedroom. We've got some... It's very mid-century modern in a way, and this kind of reddish brown, deep, woody toned furniture. So I think it'd be a nice contrast to it, but I don't know if I can persuade Vin just at the moment to opt for that outside of just white or beige bedding. I think that's a nice layout, the kitchen. I think before I even start dressing up the counters, I think I'm going to add a dining table. I always go here to the study instead of the dining room. I don't know why I do that. I think because I see this and I think it's a dining table, but alas, it is not. I quite like a table that has a tablecloth, you know? Not this one. But even just something like this, you know? Might be a squeeze to get 2 chairs in. We can't put it there because you need to be able to use that. I wonder if I just have this as like a dead counter in the sense that just for decoration. Yeah, I think I like that layout. And again, before I forget, we need a pet bowl. Is that... Oh, it's got the bone on it, so maybe not for a cat. Let's go for the white one. Do we have a mat as well? We do. Oh gosh, not in a black. That's quite nice. It plays off the little pastel-y tones that we've got going on. Okay, so now we've got all the major things in. I'm going to pull out some decorative bits, some appliances, and we can place everything together and bring this kitchen to life. Welcome back to the chaos that is currently going on in the living area. I've trolled through the catalogue to find some decorative bits and bobs, but before we get to that, I'm going to add some appliances with you. Figured it would be quite nice to have a look through the catalogue and see what we've got going on. Now, since we have a functioning commercial kitchen downstairs, I'm going to keep Parvati's main kitchen a little bit more simpler, a little bit more refined. So I'm definitely going to have a kettle. As with all people in this village, they all love a cup of tea. I think Parvati maybe likes the herbal one. I don't really vibe with herbal tea myself. I find they don't really taste of anything, but that could just be me or the brand that I'm using. But I do love English breakfast tea. It's my all-time favourite from Twinings. British people are very particular about their tea, which I always find really funny. I'm not too fussed with the brand or anything, but I don't really enjoy coffee personally, so it's my daily dose in the morning. Let's pull out a mixer, because I feel like Parvati would like to do some baking experiments upstairs. And I think anything else she's got going down in the kitchen, and also it's not a gigantic space to work with, so... Now in terms of decoration, let's start with this cabinet, which is going to be a decorative cabinet anyway. Pulled out this shelving unit. I think it's nice with the clutter. And there's actually a space to put a little light on the top shelf. So I really want to do that with that light that came with the businesses and hobbies. It's like a tiny little lamp from memory. And it comes in a nice sagey green swatch. Yeah, this one here. Yeah, this one. I think that tone works nicely in this room. I just move you down a touch. And we have some canisters for some random things. I've pulled out, oh, not you. See, everything's going on in this area. Some herbs. Imagine outside of baking, Parvati also loves to make food, like more savory foods. Maybe she enjoys making some traditional Indian dishes that her father and her mother have passed down to her. And in turn, I've got this little spice rack. That was quite a nice detail. I loathe this. It's so irritating. But I really love the detail on the outside, so I'm going to look past it. It's only this piece of wisteria that does it as well, which is a bit unfortunate, but what can you do, eh? I've got this produce basket with some fruits and veg. That was quite a nice moment. Hopefully it doesn't fall on Rani's head, or Rani tries to jump and pull it down. Ironing board. I guess for storyline purposes, it's more just the fact that, you know, we have a washing machine in this kitchen. A clock. Maybe let's pull you down a little bit. And one of the retro telephones that we got with the timed event. I like the walled one. It makes me think of Sims 3, the walled one. I love items like this like realism item. I kind of wish they functioned, or if they do, please forgive me, I could not remember. Let's add some, might have to take this off the grid. Some utensils for some cooking. And I thought it was quite nice to bring in some canisters that have a little bit of food. The kitchen clutter kit came in handy for this. I've heard other Simmers talk about this as well. It's really nice to have a kit like that where you can just filter and have everything you need for your kitchen. So it's why I do actually really like the clutter kits that we get, because they always come with really useful decorative items that really add a lot of realism to a build, including this fish printed grocery bag. That was nice since, you know, Parvati is a cat lady, but not in that sense, just that she loves having cats. And then in terms of the washing machine area, let's add some washing liquid, you know. And I used one of the new plant pots and plants that you can customize and take, add a different plant in. I like that area. I think also, yes, I had some herbs. Like I said just earlier, Parvati is a good cook as well as a good baker. And I've also leveled up everything, so she's a pro in all aspects of the kitchen. Added this nice little decorative moment. Actually, my Type A brain is wanting this to sit on the sink itself. I also really loved when I was searching through the swatches that we have this sponge. It's so typical British. I don't know, I mean, sponge is probably in every country, but we've got one of those below our sink in our flat, so I just thought it was quite a funny thing, chuckling to myself about Sims related content. And one last thing, which is this timer. I think I might need to push some stuff away. Don't think that's cutting in. Yeah, I did a timer in that section. And a bin. The all-important bin. These from Growing Together, I believe. Might just put it in this orientation so it's not cutting into each other. Push it over slightly. And also a pendant light as well. Quite like something that looks very kitchen-y. Oh, what about this? I mean, oh my gosh, this is huge, this pendant. Maybe I size you down. Do you come in a white? You do. Wait, has that just come back to the same size? It has. How very dare you. Lovely. Oh, I really like this kitchen. It's very sweet. Nice little vantage point between the archway. I'm not going to add a rug, I don't think. Wouldn't really make sense in this area. What's more interesting to finish on? Let's do the bathroom and then we can finish on Parvati's bedroom. So I'm going to keep the stone from the exterior as an accent wall to here, but I think I'd like to tile the rest of the area. I'm wondering if we can get away with something that's really decorative. Perhaps not you though. Ooh, that gold swatch is nice. Is this from the university pack? Yeah, I'm going to use this. It's quite a nice blend of modern and traditional, which I think this flat really caters to quite nicely. And then it'd be quite nice to use some gold accented bathroom suite, like this, for example. I found some decorative things for the bathroom. Some very brightly coloured towels. This tray. I used that bathroom clutter kit, which came in handy, as much as the kitchen one did for the kitchen area. A hairdryer for Parvati's very set hair. Toothbrush and toothpaste, and then I'm going to try and squeeze in this bar of soap. Might size you down actually. Yeah, I think that's nice. Added the toilet, and I might just shift you over actually so you're a bit more central. Found the cat litter tray. I'm going to put it in a matching gold swatch, you know, so everything's all in keeping. Also just need a little rug. The Parvati doesn't slip when she falls out of the shower. Put it in a cream. And then a window dressing. Maybe we go for the same one, but in a different swatch. Yeah, let's go for that. I might just keep the pendant light in here as well. Can't for the life of me figure out what to put on this wall. I did want to put a plant, but I can't find the right one. So you'll see that in the end haul. Let's move on finally to Parvati's bedroom. So I'm thinking of having a double bed in this area. And I quite like to squeeze in a cat tree. Might be a bit tricky. So let's figure out what to add into this area. Okay, first things first, I would like to continue on with the green theme and add it to Parvati's bedroom. Now, perhaps not the same matching swatch as the entryway, but I think this is quite nice with the white border. This soft, minty, pastel-y green. That's quite calming. We got the new bed from Businesses and Hobbies. Does this come in a nice swatch? Oh, it's a bit dark. That's quite nice with the cream and the green accent colours. Might go for that, you know. In terms of side tables, quite like something with a bit of personality. Perhaps it's something that Parvati's parents have passed down to her. Maybe use this in Hemford Manor. What's nice in that white and gold swatch? I think I'm going to go for that, you know. An all-important alarm clock. I imagine that Parvati will need this. I might size you down though because you're gigantic. For all her very early mornings, waking up, having to open up the Thistle Teapot. This is the item I was thinking about. It's a candle with a vase. Yeah, I think that's nice. Now I was thinking we can add a dresser here and then squeeze in a cat tree. I just thought it'd be quite nice, you know. Parvati loves Rani and doesn't mind when Rani sleeps in her bedroom, so And the door will open out in this corner, so I don't imagine it's going to be an issue. Let's try and get another plant in this area. We could even go for this one that's right next to it. I wasn't planning on using that straight away, but go for just a white one. Yeah, let's go for a white one. Dresser. So we don't really have room for a wardrobe and a dresser, so I think I might just go for a dresser with a mirror above it instead. Not something that looks too shabby though, as the one that I've just chosen does. I think I might brighten this space up with some white furniture. And this one from Cats and Dogs, this dresser, works in that space, I think. Wall mirror, hopefully find one that doesn't cut in too much. Let's see. Oh, look at that, it just fits at the perfect height. Add another radiator to this area. And another pet bed. Might just switch it up, the colours though, so it fits into this scheme. Very nice. Might put a, if I put bench, will it come up with a bench? Or an ottoman? I think it's an ottoman now. There's one with some books in the storage area, which I quite like to use, but I'm wondering if it will come up here. No, it doesn't. Ottoman. I'm a good speller, but sometimes I second guess myself, you know. Which one was I thinking of? Oh, this one here. Or was it that one? Oh, this one actually. I think the other one looked a bit too modern. And it's got some shelving units rather than some books, as I mentioned earlier. Yeah, let's do that. Some decorative bits. I need some stuff for the walls. I'm going to pull those out and we can place them all together. And then we can wrap up this build. So, final bit of details for Parvati's flat. Parvati and Rani's flat, excuse me. Got this nice little bit of artwork in here. And I thought this was quite a nice complement to that. A tapestry in that warm pinky tone. I've tried to reflect Parvati's somewhat unkept nature with her laundry box full of very disheveled clothing. I'm going to add one of these flower things. Again, I can't remember the name of this. Please sound off in the comments if you do remember. I've also pulled out this candle. I think that came with Kayla's kit. And just maybe imagine that it's a chai scent. Also a bit of product as well, you know. I think to finish this build off, this room off, I'm going to add some curtains. Quite like these ones from the Paranormal pack because of the beading. And it adds a nice nice decorative element to the windows. And the great thing about this is there's a left and a right side, so you don't have to worry too much about them fitting these small windows. Don't really have much space for another side table, so I think I might just stick with what we've got. And even a rug as well. Quite a small space to work with. Also, one last thing before I forget, let's add a pendant light, and that will truly be the last thing. Can I get away with this? Don't know if the pink's too pink. Do we have... Oh, this one's nice. Let's make sure that's within the beam. Oh, it is. Perfect. Okay, well, friends, we have completed the Thistle and Teapot. I'm going to go into tab mode and give you a little mini tour, but we'll also have an upcoming final tour, seeing Parvati and Rani in gameplay as well, and seeing that Thistle and Teapot coming to life with all the patrons. So let's go through the front door, shall we? Scooch in. So we've got a little cubby area, some bags where Rani can drop her stuff off. Rani? Parvati? I don't know if a cat can do that. Nice little alcove area. And then I do enjoy this corner and the little window, circular window moment. Nice little side table with a retro telephone. And then going into the very rich, colourful living area with all these different textures and tones. Nice little desk space and also a cat scratching post for Rani. Into the very colourful kitchen. This was quite fun to do actually. I never get to do really colourful kitchens too often, so it was nice to do a green highlight for once. Very cluttered but very lived in. Still clean, you know. Let's scooch through to the bathroom. Quite a small space, but I like that we've got the stone accent wall. And again, not really using this tile as much as I would like to in the game, but it's nice to add it in here, the gold accents. And finally into Parvati's bedroom. This nice, calming green with some pink accent colours. I love those beaded curtains actually in this area. And the all-important cat tree. Very nice and chill. So friends, I'm going to leave you guys on a final tour of the build as I mentioned, and if you do like this video, please give it a like and subscribe. I'll leave all my socials in the description box below. I'm also going to create a poll, I think, for where you guys would like me to move next in Henford-on-Bagley. I'm thinking maybe more residential rather than a commercial property, and then we can swing back around to Finchwick Village and perhaps start on the church area or a pub. But I'll let you guys know on the community tab. You can find everything there. But thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.